So much love and appreciation to those of you who have been with me for the 2 year period plus that I've been doing this. Thank you for showing your love and support to the channel. And to anybody else who is brand new to the platform and you would like to support the channel, also, you can do it by way of Patreon, Anchor, the clothing store, and also the shoe shop that is listed in the comment description below. And again, thank you to any and all of you guys who have been here to support this channel during the 2+ year period. I wouldn't be able to do what I do every single day without you. A teen gunman opened fire at a Texas elementary school Tuesday, taking the lives of 21 people, including 19 kids and 2 teachers, before he had his life taken by police. The shooter, who was identified as Salvador Ramos, age 18, allegedly took the life of his grandmother before heading to rob elementary school. Police officials from the Texas Department of Public Safety, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, and a slew of local agencies descended on the tiny town located about 60 miles east of Mexico border to respond to the shooting. A friend of Ramos's stated that he sent him photos as well. Quote, "He would send me here and there. And 4 days ago, he sent me a picture of an AR he was using and a backpack full of 5.56 rounds, probably like 7 mags. I was like, bro, why do you have this? He was like, don't worry about it. He proceeded to text me. I look very different now. You wouldn't even recognize me. The friend stated that Ramos was mocked by others for the clothes he wore and his family's financial situation, and eventually was seen less in class. He largely dropped out and took a job at Wendy's, where co-workers remembered him as quiet. Under a new Texas law passed in September, those between the ages of 18 and 21 could buy weapons if they had a protective order because they were at risk of family violence, stalking, prostitution, or trafficking. The law also removed the requirement for a permit for a handgun. Rifles are already permitted in Texas without a license. May 12th, he messaged a Los Angeles-based woman he knew on Instagram, tagging her in the photos of the weapons. You're going to repost my weapon pics? What does that got to do with me? Just wanted to tag you. Then around 5:43 a.m. on Tuesday, he wrote to her, I'm about to. The girl asked about what, to which he answered, I'll tell you before 11. He stated that he texted her in an hour and urged her to respond back. Quote, I got a little secret I want to tell you, covering with a smiley face emoji. Be grateful I tagged you. She then replied, no, it's just scary. I barely know you and you're tagging me in pictures with some weapons. His last message was at 9:16 a.m. on Tuesday, quoted as, I'm out of air. The woman reacted in horror when she learned what he had done. Quote, he's a stranger. I don't know nothing about him, and he decided to just tag me in a post about weapons. I'm so sorry for the victims and their families. I really don't know what to say. She also added that the only reason I responded to him was because I was afraid of him. I wish I stayed awake to at least try to convince him not to commit this crime. And when an Instagram user asked her if she was his girlfriend, she replied, I don't even know him and I don't even live in Texas. Start out by saying condolences to the families and the children that are involved that were able to witness what it is that took place. Like I said, there's a lot of things out here that kids just shouldn't see and should not be a part of at all. And things like this will drastically affect the minds of a lot of those children who are affected by the senseless violence. Now, the one thing that I'm looking at, right, is that you had two individuals that, in a sense, he felt close enough to that he wanted to let them know, hey, look at what I got, look at what I'm doing. And you heard both of them, in a sense, say that they found it weird and a little bit odd, and they questioned him about it, and they didn't really get a response. Now, for me, how I'm looking at it is that at that point in time, if they found it a bit weird and they had some questions about it, then they should have, in a sense, got law enforcement directly involved with the situation. They should have, sent whatever that they had and basically showed this to law enforcement as a potential, because you don't know what these people could be up to, right? Even if he was up to nothing, right? Let's say that he just wanted to show off and brag to people that he got this, that, right, and a third. right? And let's say that law enforcement was informed, right? Law enforcement would have showed up, maybe asked him some questions, told him that, it was quite suspicious that, you're sending these types of pictures. Is there any reason why you're doing this? And, different things of that nature. Then, after everything was said and done, if they didn't see anything wrong with the situation, they would have basically left him alone. But that's not what took place, right? So somebody that he worked with in the same state questioned him about it. He told him to basically mind his business, right? And then the girl who stated that she doesn't know him, right? They don't live in the same state. That's not his girlfriend. They were never in a relationship or anything like that. He decided to randomly text her and let her know, right? Now, when I first heard about this, I thought that they were both in the same state. And I thought, right, the reason why he decided to do it was, in a sense, to give her a warning, right? But that was not the case, right? So when I ended up finding out more information, she's based in LA, he's based in Texas. So, the main thing I'm still going to go with here is the fact that he, in a sense, I guess, has an attraction or an infatuation, um, with this girl, and he wanted to, let her know what was going on and something like that. In some type of, I guess, weird way, he felt a closeness enough where he wanted to potentially divulge some of this information about what it is that he was going to do if he would have, gotten away unscathed, right? And then we would be looking at a whole, different story at, this moment in time. Like I said before, I just really wish that the people who receive these messages, I wish that if they had this type of like, yo, this is a little bit weird, this is a little bit off, I'm going to sit up there and turn this over to law enforcement. I wish that would have been the first initial thought process that would have taken place, instead of like a wait and see and a never mind, and it's whatever. And it was also stated that he had an issue with due to the fact that he wasn't graduating, right? That he was failing class and all these other types of things, right? And before this took place, he ended up getting into an argument with his grandmother, right? Which is why she was one of the first people that was harmed out of this whole event. The other thing that I've brought up before, because during the last recent years, right, within like, a 10-year span, this was at one point in time a current thing that was happening continuously, like roughly every month, right? And the thing that I was looking at when it came to these incidences is the fact of all of those quote unquote true Americans, right, that wanted to show up in force with their weapons. They wanted to go to Walmarts, they wanted to go to Starbucks, they wanted to walk down the street and all these other types of things, right? They had all of this bravado. They had all of this masculinity, right? And they were really talking about, oh yeah, we're not going to let things like this, happen again, and yada yada yada, and all this other type of stuff. So I'm like, for all these true Americans out here that always say that they don't see color, that always say that, they would give their lives and they're about protecting, the people and all these other types of things. Where are you guys at to basically protect these schools? Why is it that none of you guys that always have these large armaments, that have unlimited ammo, that got God mode, set in, why don't you guys ever show up to basically take shifts at any of these schools? You talk about you're proud to be a patriot, you're proud of your Second Amendment, you're going to uphold that, you're going to parade that around. Nobody can stop you from doing it. If you had the chance and the option, you would make sure to stop any of this nonsense real quick. All of that talk that y'all been doing for oh so long, when events like this happen, I don't never see y'all talking. I don't never see y'all showing up to the scene. Because my main thing is, a lot of these things, a lot of deterrents could be put in place, right? So one solution, instead of having school security guards and the metal detectors and things like that, because you can easily slip things into schools a variety of different ways, right? You can sit up there and hire police. You can allocate money, and you can start hiring police officers, right, to patrol the schools, right? Or maybe you could sit up there and have some off duty or what have you, military men and women sitting up there, patrolling the schools and different things like that. Because, like I said before, when you have certain things set in place, you're going to have people second guessing, right? So, if case in point, if you had a whole city, right, like roughly, let's say like 98% for this scenario, 98% of the people in the city all own weapons. No matter where they go, they always have a weapon on them. How often do you think that you're going to have a crime dealing with robbery? If you know that the chances are very great, right, that as a robber, that if you pick somebody out of the crowd, that they're going to have a weapon and have a response for what it is that you're doing, and then the other person and the other people in the immediate area are also going to respond to what it is that you're doing, how likely do you think it is that that robber is going to commit that same crime? They're going to be thinking about, it's like, yeah, the pros and the cons. There's too many cons here. I might very much lose my life if I do this. Even if I might potentially get away, everybody else still has a weapon. So even before the police comes, my life might be on the ground. So let me just readjust. Matter of fact, let me not even do it, right? That's usually going to be the perspective that people are going to sit up there and take. Because if you know that the cons are higher than the pros, you're like, yeah, it's not even worth it. So like I said, there's a lot of deterrence that can be set in place. Like I said before, a lot of those quote unquote fathers and a lot of those men who are in Texas, they can sit up there, who are obviously more than likely not doing anything anyway, and go to, a variety of schools, go to their kids' schools, and they can sit up there and offer up time to be there as a deterrent to stop anybody who might potentially want to enact copycat or do the exact same thing, as we have seen several times before within the recent years. Like I said, there are some very great solutions that can be implemented in order to stop these things from happening. But it's like, when you look at it, it's like people are just allowing these things to happen. We know that there's a potentiality that this same event can very easily happen again. Or better yet, the schools are not even going to be, open pretty soon. So it will end up taking place at a different time, right? It'll be at, whatever event is basically going on. My main point is that all of those guys that had all of that bravado, that wanted to showcase their weapons at a Walmart, at a Target, at a Starbucks, walking down the street, all of these other types of things, you were proud to sit up there and have a weapon. Y'all need to be proud enough to show up to these schools, to offer up your time, and to be a deterrent, so that these kids and these teachers don't have to sit back and wait for help when you're already there to take action and to potentially save untold lives.